All right, everyone. We're going to switch to English. It's the start of the session. We're going to wait another minute just to see if more people want to join us. So we are going to do a session today about the I don't know the dream to reality of building the first Israeli whiskey distillery. Welcome to M&H Whiskey Distillery. We have here Gal Kalkshtein. He's the owner of the distillery, and Tomer Goren. He's our head distiller. I guess a lot of you know Tomer a little bit more. We're going to start the session out of 1 minute. We're going to wait a little bit, and then we're going to start. We're going to do a presentation followed by any chat, any question you want. In the meanwhile, Tomer is going to be in charge of reading the chats and answering if you want to ask any question in any part of the presentation. It's open, it's free. Do whatever you want, guys. All right. So, again, Gal,
Yeah.
it's
So
great
let's start.
having you here. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Tomer. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Eitan. I'm the CEO of the distillery. We're going to do this session from now. So, Gal, yeah, let's hear a little bit.
So maybe I will tell you about the beginning of the dream of the Milkenani distillery. So at the beginning, we met some people from the high-tech industry in Israel, people that like whiskey and drink whiskey, but don't know anything about producing whiskey. And we decided to take a dream. I think it's like every few people, young people in a bar that thinking, oh, let's make a very nice distillery and we can drink a lot. But no, this was not the idea. The idea was to build a nice and good company. And we met these people. You can see them in the picture. The one in the red, by the way, is it's my wife. She wasn't my wife there, but we fall in love in work. So I guess
That's what I'm looking.
sorry, I'm moving the mouse because something jumped in my. Yeah, the one Tomer is looking at is my wife. So Tomer, look out. So we had a
I,
dream. As we
I
said,
guess this is what whiskey is. You know, you started as a friend, and now you're husband and wife. So it's because of the whiskey.
yeah, I guess. I think her first day at work was about the whiskey, and I know she gone home and said, "Who is this crazy guy, and why do I work with him?" But the days have come, and now I work for her, so everything's okay. So we had a dream, really a big dream. We took a place that there is no whiskey in it, and we thought about the innovation we could do in whiskey, and again, it's innovation to take a country without something and put something that don't belong to this country, or we didn't thought it belonged to the country. It was we wanted to have a Israeli company, a very, 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 very good company, but an Israeli company. People said about us when we talked to them that this dream is impossible. I think this picture is amazing, by the way, because nobody thought that a human being can fly like birds. But again, no one thought that in Israel you can have a whiskey. So yeah, it was a dream that I think it was impossible for most of the people. We had another idea. We thought it was possible, and we did it. We don't compromise about anything. We'll talk about it later, but we are doing everything the best we can do. And from the beginning, we wanted to be international. Although it started like few friends from the high-tech industry, but very fast we understood what it's whiskey and why you should do it and why it can be good and how much innovation you need to have in it. But the other the other side is the patient. It took us a lot of time to learn about the whiskey industry. It's it took us a lot of time to understand that it will take a lot of time to get our money back. We invest some amount of money. It will take us a lot of time, and I don't know how many of you know about the Israeli spirit. Most of the Israeli wants to open a company today and sell the company tomorrow in 100 million, billion, trillion dollars. And our idea was not idea. Our understanding was different. Whiskey is a very different kind of company. Whiskey, it will take you a lot of years to build the company, to make the whiskey good, or we wanted not a good whiskey, we wanted the best whiskey in the world. So it will take us a lot of time to get there. And then to get back the money you invested in the company, we thought it will be even more, and we are right. But again, patience is a virtue. I think it's the best thing you can say about what we thought when we opened the company. So
what did you do in the first years when you need to be patient? I mean, what was the things you did from 2012? Anything that you took the time? I have to say that.
Yeah, and so what we did was first of all, it was to learn about the whiskey industry, to learn why, if it's even good. There is a lot of distilleries out there, and now in these days there is much more than there was in 2012. But and we try to learn about whiskey, which is not from the four big whiskey countries, like not from the US, Canada, Ireland, or Scotland. And there are very good examples, but we needed to learn them. We need to learn how it works and why it works. And by the way, the world has changed from then. But we need to learn a lot. We need to bring people that know what to do, and we will talk about them later. So we did a lot of let's sit and learn and talk. Again, I'm telling you, whoever is not from Israel and watching us, it's not an Israeli patient. It's not an Israeli character. It's very different from other Israeli companies. But I think you can see when you taste the whiskey, you can see the patient. So this was the idea. Israel is a country that has no whiskey tradition. But we saw some other traditions in Israel, other things that has no tradition and got a new tradition. We saw the wines in Israel that are very, very good, but are very new. There are like wineries which are 100 years old, but the international understanding of the Israeli wine is like 30, 40 years old. And then the Israeli beer, which was it was booming at the time we opened the distillery. And we understand that maybe we don't have a tradition of whiskey, but we can make a very, very, very good whiskey. But when you don't have the tradition, you need to bring the people that know how to open a distillery and know what it is a distillery, and to bring them to your company and to buy the knowledge. Yeah.
About the tradition, so the things that this time were 6 years ago, and now we see not a lot of more distilleries founding in Israel right now, but we have 4 or 5 more. What do you think about it? Is it a good sign or?
First of all, I think it's amazing. When we opened the distillery, people said we are crazy. Really, I had a lot of names in the market. People said I'm crazy. Who's opening a distillery in Israel? We have a wrong country whiskey, or you make whiskey in Scotland. It's not make sense. But now people saw that what is a good whiskey. We are international. We build a very big whiskey distillery, and our idea is to help all of other Israeli whiskey distillery. My dream is that in every shop in the world, in every alcohol shop in the world, there will be not only our whiskey in the Israeli shelf. I want a shelf of Israeli whiskies, but and I must say it's very important to me. And this is why I'm trying to help most of the Israeli distilleries. I want them to be very good. Because if one of the whiskey will not be good, if someone will drink an Israeli whiskey and say, wow, it's bad, he will not drink other Israeli whiskey. So we need all of the Israeli company, all the Israeli whiskey to be very good, and we are trying to help them. We are opening to them. They're coming to us. They're asking questions, especially Tomer, but they're asking questions, and we are answering. So yeah, I think it's amazing. I want a lot of Israeli whiskey companies in Israel. I think it will be amazing. So
would you wanna?
yeah.
No, keep going, God.
So what we did, because we don't have a tradition and we don't have the knowledge as we wanted it to be, we brought the amazing Dr. Jim Swan, the late Dr. Jim Swan. He was an amazing man, by the way. Personally, I must say, I liked him so much, and I think he was amazing. He loved Israel. He loved the idea of Israel. It was our dream to bring to Israel, because he was very famous in the whiskey industry. He was very famous in making whiskey in hot climate, and we were very afraid that he will not agree to come to us. But when we heard about us and heard that we want to be international and want to be big, he came and he said, "You are the best playground," and we'll talk about it, the best playground we can make whiskey in, because Israel is very small but has a lot of climates, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. And we also brought Tomer Goren, which is I know is the best Israeli
The
whiskey
legendary
maker.
Tomer Goren.
Yeah. The legendary Tomer Goren, which is the best whiskey maker in Israel. He's a distiller. He's the only master distiller in Israel, by the way. He's not allowing us to say it, so forget about it. But he's amazing, and the work together of both of them was amazing. Maybe Tomer wants to say something about the work with Jim. And
I just want to say that Jim was the right man to start this dream, or to help us plan and build the distillery, because of his knowledge in hot climate whiskey production and his background in the past project that he was involved in. And it was really big honor to work with him and to learn with him, to learn from him. And I think he did an amazing job. He let us put the ground for the future, for us to keep and do the best that we can. And I think we are doing good.
yeah.
I have to say that to start this distillery in Israel, again, without tradition, etc., the first good thing that we did, actually amazing thing we did, is to hire those two, Tomer Goren and Jim Swan, because if you don't have the knowledge how to produce whiskey in Israel, you can set up any distillery, any facility, every four walls, but to make great whiskey, as we attend or planned, to have Tomer on board and Jim on board, that helped us from 2013 to 16. Again, unfortunately, he died. Was amazing, and to learn from Jim and also work, as a co-founders, Tomer and Jim, together was, I know, Tomer, you learned a lot. And again, for me, that was the first milestone that the distillery said we are going to be interesting, we are going to be exciting, was Jim and Tomer. For me as well, this is my point of view. I'm not going to say more about Tomer. He hates that. He's,
Yeah, stop saying
again,
my name
he's
and
just a
Jim's
beautiful
name in
guy.
the
That's
same
it.
sentence.
Yeah. No, you're just a very, very pretty, person. That's it. I mean, you're a great guy.
Agree. I totally agree. So, Tomer don't want us to talk about him anymore. So let's talk about the location. So we're in Tel Aviv. We looked for a lot of locations in Israel, and at the end we found in Tel Aviv a very nice building, a very good building, only 1 kilometer from the beach. 1.1 kilometer from the beach. And Tel Aviv is amazing because of a lot of things. First of all, it's our country high-tech hub, high-tech capital. Most of the startup, most of the innovation is in Tel Aviv. Nightlife in Tel Aviv, food, culinary life, culinary capital of Israel is in Tel Aviv. And we thought it would be amazing for a whiskey distillery to be in a city like Tel Aviv. We thought it would be amazing, and this is what we did. So what is Tel Aviv? Tel Aviv has a very urban and vibrant feeling. Always people in Tel Aviv always think outside the box. It's like if you need a solution, they will find it, even if it's not the solution you thought it's possible to have. And there is very nice. You can see it in Jaffa and Tel Aviv. You can see the modern culture, but you can see also the classic and the old days and it's all together, and I think this is what our whiskey is talking about. We are a Scottish, we took the Scotch way of making whiskey.
We're not
the old way. No, we're not Scotch. I'm not saying it.
Just to make sure that we know that.
yeah. But we took the rules of the Scottish way to make whiskey and the old way to make whiskey, and we are trying to make modern and modern things, but not to ruin the classic way of making whiskey, only to improve it. And I think we are doing a very good job in this. Tel Aviv has 300 days of sun, which is quite too much. And the temperature in Tel Aviv is between 16 to 40. It's too hot. Most of the days, most of the summer, it's too hot. You cannot be outside. It's too much, and the humidity is even worse. It's
Talking about whiskey production. So the climate in Tel Aviv is much more closer to the Indian or Taiwanese climate, and that's what important to the whiskey. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So,
Tomer, how's the sun or humidity in Tel Aviv helped you producing your whiskey you want to aim?
First of all, it's a huge advantage for us because the maturation takes place much quicker. That's not mean that it's only good. We lose a lot of angel share, around 11-12% a year from each cask, so that's a lot. But when you learn how to work with this climate, it can give you really good results in quicker time than colder classic whiskey countries.
I know that of course our main warehouse are in Tel Aviv, but as Gal said in the beginning, when Jim said yes for this project, he said, guys, Israel is the amazing playground because Israel has 5 climate zones that you actually is very different one to another. So Tomer, again, a little bit about how this
in such a small country, we have 5 different climate zones, and that let us mature our whiskey in 5 different warehouses that each one gives totally different results to the maturation process. And it's fascinating to see the differences between same cask age in different climate zones. And we still experience and learn that because we are still young. But the results are fascinating. And I think in the future, we'll see more and more additions comes from each different climate zone. And we'll play with it marketing-wise and whiskey-wise.
I agree. So the main warehouse is in Tel Aviv. We also have a warehouse in the Dead Sea that is a little bit starting to be known around the world because it's crazy. It's the lowest place on Earth, more than 400 meters below sea level. We also have one in the Sea of Galilee, and we have some other surprises we're going to do in the deserts near Jerusalem and things like that. Again, it's in one hand marketing position, the other hand is just amazing effect on the cast, and so everyone gets. The marketing gets what he wants, and Tomer gets what he wants. So I think it's going to be very exciting. This is a little bit, as Gal said, our innovative part of trying to mature whiskeys in different places around Israel, as is a very small country, but you still can do more. So, okay, great.
So if we want to talk about the timeline of the company, so the picture you saw is from 2012 when we were younger and beautiful. But since then, in 2015, we did the first distillery. 2017, we had the first release of Israeli first single malt whiskey. We'll talk about it in a second. Then we started exporting in 2018. But the classic premiere was in 2020, and also other products that we'll see later, like the elements and the apex, but we'll talk about it
Actually, we started
in a while.
The classic this at the beginning of this year, just before the COVID spread around the world and stopped us from flying and visiting each market. I'm really sad about that, but
I'm not missing flying. I don't know what you. I mean, for me, it's great to be in my shelf here.
But if I can, if you talked about the COVID, so I must ask a question: is it good to a distillery, a young distillery, to have in the first year of premiere of the whiskey? Is it good or bad?
That's a great question, Gal. I can tell you that for me, of course, everything around pandemic is bad. I hope all people will be healthy. As a marketing way or as a CEO of a company, I can tell you that in one hand, for now, for our capacity, it actually was a good thing. The COVID. That the consumption and the home consumption really grow. Of course, on the other hand, we cannot visit in the market, no shows around the world, and for being this platform is great in the Whiskey Exchange to meet people, to chat with people, is a good thing. For our capacity, I have to say that for now we're blooming, we are rising, we're getting more and more markets because I think people are having more time. They want to explore more. They can explore it at their home, at a house, and not go to a bar and get 5 different whiskeys that you get in any bar in the world. I think it's. For our side, it's again, it helps a little bit. The classic is our first whiskey. So see, from 2012 to 2020, 8 years for thinking, for establishing a distillery, building a distillery, and in the end, after 8 years, the first release. It's crazy. It's so not Israeli. I mean, it's the longest I ever waited for a product in my life.
So our first Israeli whiskey in Israel was this beautiful bottle, I must say. This is the first single malt from Israel. It's maybe Eitan, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about this model?
Yeah. So the whiskey wasn't ready yet, but we had several that was from early stage when Tomer and Jim just started to think about the recipe, the raw material, and et cetera, et cetera. So in 2018. Tomer and Jim actually distilled and mashed in a small home near Tomer's home. In 2017, we had 2 of these, and we said we are going to. We had more, but a lot of them wasn't good enough for us. But these 2, or this first one, was amazing, and we said we are going to release this single cask as Israeli first whiskey distillery, 391 bottles. That's it, a single cask strain. take us to history, because in 2017 we released this Israeli first whiskey distillery. First 100, all of the bottles were numbered. The first 100 went to whiskyauctioneer.com and made some history. This day, it was a huge landmark for us. We were in one weekend in more than 40 publishers around the world in PR. New York Times on the cover. I'm not going to forget it in my life, because it was a huge landmark. Israeli first whiskey distillery, only 391 bottles, and then we had another one, and then we waited for a lot of years.
It's not only the Israeli first whiskey distillery, but also the first ever Israeli single malt whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are lucky enough from the 391 bottles, if you are lucky enough to get one, I hope it's going to be also sentimental, but it's also going to be this, I guess.
And I hope people will open it, because unfortunately, it's a collector's item.
I guess no one is opening.
I'm not opening it, so what we're trying to do, we talked about we're trying to be the best, and I think you can. I don't know how much of you drank our whiskeys. But when people drink it, they're saying, wow, it's amazing. And I don't think it's only the fast maturation. I think it's, first of all, our idea of top quality ingredients. I know that everybody is saying we have the top quality ingredients, but I don't know how to say. As the owner of a distillery, as a person, if I would try to run in a competition, I will try to be the best in the world. So it's the same in whiskey. The dream was to be an international, very good,
I don't know what
profitable.
About me and Nathan. We are trying to be the second.
We were trying to be mediocre. I mean, for me, middle is great. I mean, no, but again, as Gal said at the beginning, we said it's not going to be a regular distillery. It's going to be a distillery that has the time, money, and patience to invest. And one thing we invest was in raw material or the quality of the ingredients. Tell me a little bit about our ingredients.
So, unfortunately, so far we have no good enough barley in Israel to use for the main whiskey. We are trying to achieve better quality barley, but right now we are using Manton's barley from the UK. Which is the one that I like the most at the beginning. We tried a few varieties of barley from few companies, and that one give the best flavor results and efficiency results. So we use Anton's barley.
Okay, we are east from Fermentants from Belgium, M-type. One type, and I know that, Gal, for you it was very important that our equipment will help or build another industry around the distillery.
Yes, so we talked about two things. First of all, we want to build the best equipment, but second of all, we want to try and help the Israeli industry and to build things we can in Israel. And if you see the picture in the right, it's our design of the mash tun. Sorry. So we wanted to build a mash tun in Israel. We have a very, very good company in the name of Magat, which is working in a lot of other industries, and we asked them to build it. And it's an amazing, and it's what we need for our product exactly, and it's amazing. At the other side, you can see our Carl pot still, which is also amazing, and also very, very, very good. If we are talking about the best, yeah, we have we bought it from one of the best companies in the world because we wanted to be very accurate everything is very, very important in this copper steel. So you can see two other things about the best in the world, the companies, and I think also the best in the world companies from Israel. A lot of our equipment is from Israel, and it's built for us.
I noticed it was important for you as Israeli, but again, Magat, the producer, is a great one. Also, our fermentation tanks are built for us. The most important thing is all customized for us. It was for Tomer Fix. He designed a lot of the things. It took Tomer and Jim 3 months to design the mash tun only for a compromise. And think about me. I have to take the copper every day to my home. It's very heavy, I mean, to take it every day home and bring it back in the morning.
Yeah.
And for Tomer, it was very important not to buy a shelf product in this side, that side, or that side. He designed the whole thing with Jim. The mash tun is very unique. And also we can help the Israeli industry. I agree.
Actually, it's the first time that MGT, Magat, the company in Israel that built the mash tun, they are building a lot of fermentation tanks to the beer industry, a lot to the UK and the rest of the world. And it's the first time that they build mash tun. And it took a lot of ping pong ideas and corrections to design this mash tun. It was really interesting. Good that we finished it.
Yeah. It's a 7,000 liters mash tun, by the way. 1 ton mash every run. We do 2 tons a day. We're gonna speak about it in 1 second.
So, if you want to talk about what we are doing, if I must say, and I will tell you a little secret. Right now, we are in the way of making 800 casks a year. From the next month, we decided in the last few weeks to enlarge our company. So we will not make only 800. We make about 1,200 a year. Again, it's a new thing. So right now, what we are talking about, it's what we are doing now. You can see how big our installation. We have a wash still of 9,000 liters, and then the second one 350. I guess it's put us in a medium large distillery. Again, we are enlarging, and we understand that we can sell more, and we want to sell more, and we want to make more. People.
For example, the size of the steel is somewhere in the middle. We're not so small, but don't forget that the capacity is not calculated like in Scotland because we are not working in weekends.
Yeah. Tomer, you lost your beautiful face. I don't know why. I'm not seeing Tomer. So yeah, as Gal said before, we are going to enlarge our capacity on another 2 months from now. 6 fermentation tanks, more than 1,200 cask filling every year, and we are going to work 24 hours a day for 6 days a week.
So, Tomer, maybe you will talk about our cask and the core range.
So the core range, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, built or based mainly on ex-bourbon casks. Around 75% of the casks at the distillery are ex-bourbon casks that we source from, most of them from Kelvin Cooperage in Kentucky. So all of our expressions, except the really special ones or the single cask, will be based on ex-bourbon because I believe everything has to be balanced. And I know that that's a word that I say a lot. And I really like well-balanced whiskeys, and we are working on balancing it a lot. And that's why I believe everything should be based on ex-bourbon, which gives not only the new make a good a good contrast to the florally and fruity from the new make and the sweet flavors from the ex-bourbon, but also the other casks, good base to be well placed and well balanced with the other casks. So the Element series, which is the second, will be also based on ex-Isla, Israeli red wine, and cherry, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Beside that, we have a lot of really interesting cask, and there is no cask that we will say no to mature our new make in. We really like to try and to experiment a lot with casks, and some casks will be released in the special editions, some will not, but it's interesting, and the wood management is something that we really focus on the day life.
I guess that in the early stage of distillery, you want to explore a lot. So as Tomer said, we are trying to explore, and one of them is our hand-pick, cherry-pick cask selection, but also with a very open-minded way. We want to try every different kind of cask and mature. This is the most exciting part of a distillery is changing a variety, trying a variety.
If I add more, because we are in Israel, because of the hot climate and the fast maturation, more in the Dead Sea, we can try a lot of cask and get the result very fast. So I guess this is part of the innovation, but we can do it. I think if you would try to do the same trial, the same innovation in colder countries, it will take much more and very fast we can know if a cask is good for finishing or if the cask is good for blending. I think it's amazing, and I think Tomer is a lucky guy for having this kind of courage and trying the special editions. And I have to tell you, we have more secret in the special editions, but we'll talk about them in the secret stuff that we'll not talk about today. So let's continue and talk about our variety of whiskies.
So the classic that have been launched at the beginning of this year, just before the COVID, we first launched it in Netherlands and then in Paris, and it's our entry level for the portfolio, bottled at 46 ABV because we do not chill filter it. Of course, we do not color it. Also, we don't use any coloring. It's all natural color. It's based on 75% ex-bourbon, 20% STR casks, which are shaved, toast, and recharged. Some techniques that Jim Swan developed at the beginning, especially for other distilleries that he was involved in. And the rest of 5% are virgin oak. And I think the classic, first you can feel the distillery character in the classic, and the distillery character defined firstly in the new make. It's very florally, it's very fruity, but it's also with body, it's oily and thick and nice. And because of the cask that we are using, we have a lot of vanilla caramel notes and nuts finish, and just a really nice spiciness that I really like in whiskeys. So that's why we really like it. It's entry level. It's a whiskey to bring to the whole family, to beginners in whiskey, not only to whiskey geeks or something like that. Not, it's whiskey for everyone.
I agree. That's more than a great Dirty Day drum. I saw some in the chat from which whiskey to start the tasting. The classic would be the first one because this is more representing our house style or the way. And again, the other series are based on a classic. The first drum you would like to taste from Milk and Honey, classic would be the one. Tomer, a little bit years ago when you thought about the portfolio, and Gal, you can skip to the Elements one. I know that you had an idea for the next series of products. So we have the classic, again, great Dirty Day drum. Everyone can enjoy it. It's for mass majority of palates and things like that. Tell us a little bit what was your idea with the marketing team for the Element series.
So I first wanted still the Element series, which is the second tier in our portfolio, to be really accessible and to let every whiskey drinker first to find the whiskey that he likes in our portfolio, and I think we did success in this. But second, all of them are really drinkable and easy drinking and accessible to every palate of every whiskey drinker. Still, it is very interesting, and we add for each element we add another layer of complexity of other casks of other flavors, and I think we did really good job planning this. It's not only me, I think I say we, all the staff of marketing and everyone planning this series, and it's really nice.
So the Elements is just launching now around the world. Half a year started. You can see it in more and more several markets. The Element series is a higher series of products that is based on the classic. Tomer, correct me if I'm wrong, 50% is based on the classic, meaning ex-bourbon, STR, a little bit of virgin oak.
Yeah, it's based on the classic cask types, on the bourbon STR, not on the classic. We don't take the classic, put it in other cask or something like that. No, it's
of course.
Each element is a different blend, and we plan it differently from time to time.
And for each element,
Eitan, if I can, yesterday we talked about it in another session, but I'm in the last few months, I've been in a few stores and talked with customers, and they asked me, what do you feel the classic is different, or I don't know, maybe it is lower or in any kind than the elements, because people love the classic. Maybe Tomer, you had a very good answer yesterday, and I liked it, but maybe people want to hear this answer.
Well, I don't remember what I said, so tell you.
The difference.
No problem. The answer, I remember the answer very good because I asked it in a natural way, really. So it's harder to make other kind of blends, and it costs more to get like a sherry cask. We can talk about our sherry cask. It's another story at all, but this is why the Elements is talking about something different than what you believe in, which is ex-bourbon. It's the most the thing that is people want, and it is the baseline of whiskey. And I loved your answer yesterday. Maybe you don't remember it, but
I think that the Elements is again, it's adding another element to the classic. So we have sherry, we have peated element, we have Israeli red wine. So everyone can find, this is for me the most important thing about Element, anyone can find what is suitable for their palate. So classic is get to know Milk and Honey, and then if you want to involve, if you like to get more flavors towards the sherry one, the peated one, and the Israeli red wine cask. I can tell you that each and one of them is not a sherry bomb or peated or heavily peated. Yeah. It's more balanced. Tomer, again, I said balanced. Yeah, you like that? Yeah. And I can say wow and amazing. But it's
so this is about the answer of Tomer and about the whiskeys. I think the classic is the one that again you bring to a table that you don't know the people that everyone will like it. And in the Elements, I think Tomer, you did an amazing job. And again, people will find anyone love whiskey will say of one of them, maybe two or three, this is an amazing whiskey. And I think this is the most amazing thing about the Elements and why the Elements is different from the classic. But
I agree.
Nathan, let's touch just a little bit about our sherry seasoning project, because
yeah, absolutely. So we are a kosher distillery. It's not a big issue for us, to be honest. Again, sitting in Tel Aviv, it's not a big issue for whiskey in general. But the moment you involve a wine cask, it could be Cabernet Sauvignon, it could be sherry. The cask or the wine has to be kosher. You're not going to find any kosher sherry around the world. What we did is a project, an amazing one. This is more to see how our approach is. We are going to solve any problem. This is very Israeli. So you cannot
You're
find
thinking outside the box.
exactly.
This is,
You cannot. But we did. We found a bodega that is producing only for us PX and also Rosso sherries in a kosher way with a wrap from Madrid, from Barcelona, sorry, and also the cooperage. So we have on one side the cask, the cooperage that is producing only for us. We have the sherry, the bodega that is producing sherry only for us. And this, for me, this is not only a kosher project, it also a way that you can source the best sherry and control the production of sherry and not buy just any sherry cask. So for me, that was an amazing part. I guess, Tomer, also for you. So we are the only as producing whiskey that was matured in kosher sherry wine. So again, a very
if I
unique
can take,
product.
if I can take the other side, you're loving it, of course. I love it as well. But if we are taking the financial side, it's costing us much more than if we want to buy a sherry cask. But I think it's an amazing project and I love it.
It's 5 up to 6 times more costing us more than buying any sherry cask around the world because this unique project. Again, but this is how you control the production. You do it small. It's much expensive, but you can get the best, whiskey that was matured in sherry.
So
so that's the Element series.
Just to be mentioned, the Element series are also bottled at 46 ABV. Again, no chill filter, no non-coloring. It's all natural color.
And we said before that we are trying to do a traditional production of whiskey, but be invaded or in the innovation part of Israeli people or distillery. Tomer, a little bit about the APAC series, that is the higher level of whiskeys that we are going to produce. And it's not released yet, but it's launching in around this December, the start of 2021. Tomer, a little bit about the series and what you saw.
So you're probably asking yourself, all of you, where are the whiskeys for the whiskey geeks or for the really people that likes cask strength and everything? So here we will use a lot of our really special cask and experimental cask and all the casks that don't enter the core range, but also really single cask from exceptional cask that we find that should be bottled as a single cask. The first one will be white wine cask in the middle. Really special Chardonnay cask from a good winery in the mountains of Jerusalem. And the second one will be pomegranate wine cask. That this is really Israeli and really, really special. I think we are the only distillery using pomegranate wine cask. Maybe not. Not sure about that. And then we will have special releases from the different climate zones and all really special things bottled at cask strength. And I'm really, really looking forward this series.
Yeah, it's going to be small batches, not a lot of bottles. Some of them are going to be single cask. You're not going to find a lot in each market. And again, this is I think the best way to show our innovative part, but also mixing all of the production ways, the hot climate, the climate zones, and etc. The pomegranate is, for me, the most interesting one. Again, it's a project. There's a winery in Israel that produces more than 1 million bottles of wine themselves around the world, and we are using their cask.
I just want to say one thing about pomegranate cask. When we offered that boutique whiskey company various types of casks, they chose to bottle this only 1-year-old pomegranate wine cask, and it's still available on MOM website. And please get a bottle, I think it's almost sold out, and it's really, really interesting one. Only 1 year old, but it feels much, much older, and it's really, really good.
That's like a sneak peek for a little bit of what we're doing with the Apex. Of course, the Apex is going to be proper whiskey, more than 3 years. I agree, Tomer. It's again a collective item now.
So maybe we talk about gin.
So I have to say that from 2016 we are producing products. A lot of people ask me which product you had before the whiskey and why. One is for cash flow. That's for sure. You want to sell before the whiskey is ready, but it's also to build our brand. It's to build the whiskey that it's just started to launch, and we started from to produce our whiskey. But for Tomer, it was very important. It's not going to be just gin or just for the cash flow. Or for me, for marketing, it was very important to build a brand. But for Tomer, he decided it's going to be. Tomer will tell us a little bit about the gin.
So first, the gin is based on the same new make that we produced the whiskey from. So you can call it a single malt gin. It's not a category, but it is a single malt gin based on 100% barley, new make. And then we soak herbs and spices from the nearby Lewinsky market, that really Israeli spices and herbs that we source. And I think it's really Israeli taste. The main ingredient, of course, besides juniper berries, is zatar, and it's like wild oregano or something like that. I don't know if there is a word in English for that, but it's very Mediterranean spice that they use in Mediterranean cuisine a lot. And when I close my eyes, I imagine myself walking in a spice market, in the Lewinsky spice market, during sipping this gin, and it's really amazing. New World gin. Don't expect London Dry. It's not a London Dry. It's a New World, full of flavor and very Israeli gin.
Again, it's in 46%. It's based on the new make, so it's very lovable also for the whiskey geeks, because it's also for the more open-minded New World gin. We are going to keep it in our portfolio. It's going to be alongside the whiskey because it serves us. We love the product, and it's again helps us to build the brand, and also we love it.
And it gets a lot of good compliments from worldwide and a lot of medals. So it is a good product.
Absolutely.
First of all, thank you for watching our presentation. If someone has a question, this is the time to ask us, or we can continue to talk forever, because we love each other.
Absolutely, guys. If you have any question, this is the time. I'm sourcing the chat a little bit to see. Tal is also in the chat, is answering a little bit. If you have any question about what we said.
Brian had a private tasting yesterday, by the way.
Let's ask Brian which whiskey he has behind him.
I have a bunch in my collection because I've been saving for over 20 years, and that's my grandchildren's future macha, the retirement fund. But I still need a bottle signed by you guys, okay, to go on the shelf with all of the others. But anyway, the guys make the absolute best whiskey that I have tasted. And the coolest thing is what they didn't even have a chance to really describe and discuss tonight. Mind you, it's literally noon here in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know what time it is in Arizona, in Israel. But what you guys didn't talk about that's so hyper cool is that you guys have placed little warehouses all over Israel to take advantage of the different microclimates and the different amount of, shall we say, the angel's share in this case, and how it interacts, going all the way to the Dead Sea to all the way up north in the Galilee. And what you're doing is showing the world the true identity of what's available in the land of milk and honey. And you're creating something that I believe people haven't had the opportunity to do beforehand, which is show them the real Israel. Not show them the fighting, not show them any of this, not show them anything of that, but show them the real people showing real products that are it's a mitzvah what you guys are doing. And Gal, thank you. And Itan, thank you. And of course, Tomer and Tal, thank you. By helping us bring the word out to everybody, it gets, I mean, what you make in pomegranate is a mitzvah alone. And you know I believe that and talk about it all the time. But your product, I have a bottle each of both of your whiskey and blooms that I physically went so that they were in my possession forever. Your quality is incredible. So the only questions that I'd had were like, for example, the barrels, how do you, and Tal answered them already, how do you keep them wet, you know, on the inside when they're exposed on the outside to the heat in Israel, okay? Because we all know that it's desert style, and you know, it's not like up in the Scotland where you get to 46 degrees and you need a winter coat on, okay? So, and I'm talking Fahrenheit, not Celsius, okay? The other thing that I think that would be important, in my stupid opinion, is to, like, for example, bring other things like, for example, you do the sherry that you have made for you, that I don't know what you're doing with it, but I think that to Jews in like New York, to the Jews in LA, that have never tried. I mean, come on. I mean, it's absolutely, I know. Huh?
You talk about
Brian,
sherry wine.
Yeah,
the sherry wine that you guys are making. You're actually making sherry wine to be used by the barrel that you create also. So laugh all you want, but there's a bunch of kosher Jews that are sitting there just like they always keep asking, okay, is turkey bacon taste like pork bacon? Well, here now you can have, for the first time ever, sherry. It's available.
Brian, thank you so much for saying this amazing words about the distillery. I mean, for us, it's just to see the sparks in our eyes, and also, you know, to see it in your eyes. It's amazing. And again, thank you, Gal, for you know, just allowing us to waste your money and do whatever we want. And again, Tomer sent. I'm kidding, Gal. It's where it was your dream, and I hope we are fulfilling your dream. And Brian, as you said, we are trying. Me. I owe you? No, you owe me, my friend. But thank you so much for your time, guys. Anyone has to want to more or ask more questions?
Brian, thank you.
Brian, thank you so much. And we're gonna meet you in our booth, guys. Gal, anything? Of course, it's for you to close.
First of all, thank you very much. I'm going to our booth. Please come and talk, and it was amazing. Thank you very much for listening to us, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you at our booth. If you wanna continue, we are gonna stay there. So thank you so much, guys.